You know that feeling? You're on a team, you're constantly shipping, always busy, hitting all your deadlines, but you've got this little nagging voice in your head telling you that none of it is actually making a difference. Well, you are definitely not alone. So many product teams are stuck in what we call a feature factory, just cranking out features without really knowing if they'll solve a real customer problem. So let's get into it and figure out how to escape that trap for good.
All right, so here's the core problem, right? The big conflict for pretty much every product team is that good intentions and a whole lot of hard work, well, they just don't guarantee success. The road to a failed product is absolutely paved with well-executed features that nobody actually needed in the first place.
Which, brings us to this huge question. It's kind of wild when you think about it, isn't it? We have these brilliant, talented people working incredibly hard, using all the best agile processes, and yet so often, the end result just completely misses the mark. Why on earth does this keep happening?
Well, a lot of the time the answer comes down to what we're actually measuring. See, many teams get stuck measuring outputs. Things like how many features they ship this quarter, or how fast their development velocity is. And hey, it feels productive, but that is not the same thing as creating outcomes. Outcomes are the meaningful, valuable changes in our customers' behavior. So the real question is, are we just building stuff, or are we actually making our customers' lives better?
And this is a perfect example of how dangerous that mindset can be in the real world. In the Wells Fargo scandal, the focus everyone focused on was opening new accounts. That was the key business metric. But because the focus was entirely on that internal number, without any real thought about the customer outcome, it led to literally millions of fraudulent accounts and a complete public relations nightmare. It's an extreme case for sure, but it perfectly shows what happens when we lose sight of the actual customer.
Okay, so if the feature factory is the problem, how do we fix it? How do we start really focusing on what our customers need? The first step is a pretty big mindset shift. It means moving beyond the tools we think help us understand users and instead digging into the real why behind what they do. For ages, the go-to tool for this has been the good old persona. I'm sure you've all seen them. Social Sarah, she's 35, lives in California, loves yoga. They give us this nice, neat picture of who our user is based on their attributes and demographics. It really feels like we know them, right?
But, and this is a huge but, a list of attributes doesn't tell us why Sarah makes a certain choice. It describes her, yeah, but it doesn't explain what caused her to use your product today in this specific situation. It's missing the story. It's missing the motivation.
And this is exactly where the jobs to be done framework comes in. Instead of obsessing over who the user is, JTBD focuses on the job they are trying to get done. What progress are they trying to make in their life? Think about it like this. They are literally hiring your product to do a job for them. And that reframes everything around context and motivation.
Okay, let's make this super concrete. Check out this comparison. A typical user story might say something like, as a 35-year-old manager, I want to eat something tasty. It's okay, but it doesn't give us a whole lot to design for. Now look at the job story. When I'm between meetings, I want something quick so I can stave off hunger. Boom. All of a sudden you have context. Between meetings, you have the real motivation, stave off hunger. Now that is an actionable insight you can actually build a solution for.
So getting this jobs to be done thing is a fantastic first step. But, an insight that just sits there is, well, it's pretty useless, right? The next step is to build a process, a rhythm, that turns these insights into a steady drumbeat for your team. This is what author Teresa Torres calls continuous discovery. And the magic word here, the one I really want you to remember, is habit. This isn't some big 6-week research project you do once a year. It's the simple, sustainable practice of the team, the people actually building the product, having weekly conversations with customers, all focused on achieving a specific outcome.
So what does this rhythm actually look like? It really just breaks down into 4 key things. 1, you've got weekly touchpoints with customers. 2, the research is led by the team itself, your product manager, designer, and engineers, not handed off to some other department. 3, the activities are small and focused. And 4, it's all done in service of a desired outcome, not just wandering around and exploring randomly.
Okay, so you're talking to customers all the time. That's awesome. But what do you do with all that information? It can get messy, fast. You need a way to organize what you're learning. You need a map.
And that map is called the Opportunity Solution Tree. It's a really simple but incredibly powerful visual tool. You start at the top with your desired outcome. That's the metric you want to move.
Then, from your customer chats, you identify opportunities. These are their needs, their pain points, their desires. After that, you brainstorm potential solutions for those opportunities. And finally, you design little experiments to test if your solutions are actually going to work. And what's so cool about this is how it connects everything. It creates this direct visual line of sight from the thing the business cares about, the outcome, all the way down to the tiny experiments you're running this week. It just makes sure nothing gets lost in translation.
So why bother with this? Well, there are 3 huge wins here. First, everyone, your team, your stakeholders, can see the exact same map and understand the strategy. Second, it helps you compare different ideas against each other, instead of just saying yes or no to one idea at a time. And third, it keeps you focused on small, fast experiments, so you learn really quickly and cheaply.
All right, I get it. This all sounds great on a slide, but you might be thinking, how in the world do I actually start doing this, especially if your company isn't already set up this way? The key, honestly, is to just start small.
And this is where I want to share this quote from Teresa Torres, because it's just so perfect. She says, "I didn't try to change the way these companies worked. I simply did my work my way, and I got results." It's so empowering. You don't need to wait for some massive company-wide change. You can start changing how you work. And trust me, when you start getting results, people will notice.
So let's break it down. Here are 3 super practical things you can start doing, like tomorrow. First, just start small. Work within your own team, your own sphere of influence. Second, make it easy to find customers by automating recruiting. A simple 1-question survey in your product that asks, "Hey, got 20 minutes to chat?" can work wonders. And third, test your ideas fast using unmoderated testing services to get quick feedback.
But listen, if all that feels like too much, and you're going to do just one thing, do this. Regular customer interviews are the keystone habit. It's the one single practice that, once you get it going, makes everything else, finding opportunities, mapping them, testing ideas, just naturally fall into place. It all starts with a simple conversation. And that really brings us to the final takeaway. The journey out of the feature factory isn't about some massive, complicated new process. It really just begins with a single step. So I'll leave you with this question. What's the one single conversation you can have with one customer this week that could change everything?